Good evening, Internet. Welcome to another match in our Highway to the Threemus zone. I am Hupfen, joined here on the commentary by Microchords, as we talk about this match between Dathus and empyrealdragon. Micro, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to see this matchup of two runners in our hook route. Both of them 1-0, and I would say from a runner's perspective, they're both very anxious to get that second win because that's going to guarantee them at least one chance, a narrow chance, but a chance nonetheless to advance on to the table stage.
Yep, we are in kind of that phase of our tournament where we're finalizing that table group, and we have the hook route and the magma route. So the hook route naturally being a little more difficult, a little more roundabout. But both of these runners sitting on one win so far, so they have to be feeling good about that, if nothing else.
Yeah, they both know neither of them are getting eliminated tonight, though it is going to make their journey a little more difficult. So both, I think, is probably going to be anxious to get the win and make their way through the four objectives that we see on the screen.
Yeah, they are an interesting set of objectives that we're looking at. We have our standard issue Legend Sword and Adamant duo. We also have to find that sand ruby, and or find that pass, and or take care of the bosses at Baron Inn. So a few key item hunts, but not entirely.
Nope, one available right away. I don't think we've seen the starting character yet. So as a lot of runners are finding out with this flex, that if you start with an edge, there's a good chance you could directly do that, with a few exceptions for the second character, the second boss in that position. But if they don't have an edge, I don't expect to see either of them attempt that till they at least get a few more characters.
Yep, there is even an NPC in Baron who's like, you might want to hold off, don't rush Baron in straight away, because hey, you start off in Baron, it's right there, it's right at the beginning. No, don't do it unless you know what you're doing. But these runners do know what they're doing, so we might actually see that pulled off.
Yeah, and even if they don't have an edge, I mean, if you really wanted to get a little bold, you could try it anyway and hope that there's some kind of easier free boss in that second hard-hitting spot. But yeah, we'll have to see who we're getting. Do you recognize Dathus's character names?
I do not. It's been pointed out in chat that it's Legend of Dragoon, which is not a game that I've played.
Nope, same here. New to me, and that is not an edge.
No, that is the other Edward.
It is. I guess maybe if there was an evil wall in the second spot, maybe you could do Eddie strats and hide your way to victory. But yeah, I expect some heavy dips into character spots to start this seed. Absolutely.
We do have a bunch of free and immediately available spots. So if our runners do want to pad out that starting party, they've got the opportunity to do so. And of course, those are great ones to check early on in case you want to save a character for later.
Yep. If you're willing to forego the loot behind the character at Watery Pass, and there's a good anchor or potential anchor there, you sometimes see runners skipping that and just keeping that knowledge, as you said, for later on.
But joining our wonderful friend Eddie is our wonderful friend Tella, and a magma key to come along.
Look at that.
So you may not have the power, but you have the access.
Yeah, I would guess both runners are going to want more characters before diving, and unless one of them wants to try, to see the freebies, to get the free frame arch chest, and to start the whole Sheila one check. But I think I'd be surprised if one of them goes directly magma.
Yeah, we always tend to say check your freebies. Those are out there, and we call them freebies for a reason. The only thing they cost you is time. But this is a race, so you want to be a little careful with your time.
And Dathus going directly to Miss Village. Actually walked over Miss Village. Huh.
Might have created a situation for himself in Mist Village.
Well, he's back in, checking the loot. Was that black armor? And there is our Baron in check real quick.
Yep, just fight Ant Lion and a mystery second boss for a child of some sort. Not the sort of thing you're going to be rushing for necessarily, but we'll see what the other characters are available.
Dathus. Oh, Dathus does have exit with Tella. So, look at that defense sword, crystal armor. That is a lucrative check.
Yeah, with this flag set that we have set up, these treasure locations are considered a little more orphaned, a little more out of the way, particularly this hidden chest. And those get weighted a little bit better.
Yep, sometimes it feels slow going in there without a Tella, but of course Dathus had it, could exit right out. And Imperial Dragon did the water check in Baron and came away with a Lilith rod, which is not bad with a Tella in your party.
No, it's not quite a Stardust rod, but it's still a powerful Black Mage weapon. And we see Mr. Karate himself, Yang, in the Watery Pass. Dathus is going to pick up the Punch Mage. So there's some meaningful physical damage to have early on.
Yeah, he's going to need a few more levels to get super punchy, but a good elemental claw used at the right moment can make all the difference early.
Yes, perhaps a Thunderclaw is, I know a lot of our runners are quite fond of.
And Dathus looks like he's going to continue to make good use of Tella by doing the deep loot dive into Watery Pass. Let's see if these chests pay off. Let's see if Imperial Dragon makes the same choice.
Yeah, I suspect she will, because again, having Tella in the party, like, okay, he's not going to be the most powerful character to have around. He's Tella, but he comes with exit by default. Our runners know that. That is a huge asset in looting, and that is going to fuel a lot of these early decisions.
And they are indeed in lockstep in this decision, both diving deep, and there's a big sword for a future edge, perhaps.
That it looks like Imperial Dragon is not going to come across as she bails out earlier.
Well, no edge, no harm, but if there is an edge, that could be, and there's a power shirt.
Oof. That is good for a lot more characters than just edge.
Yep, and we'll help that early young.
But instead, Imperial Dragon is going to go receive the hovercraft and a second Tella.
We did see a runner, I think, take 3 Tellas all the way to the end recently. I'm not sure if that's in the plans tonight, but we have to.
I mean, I'm of the mindset that you don't really need more than one Tella, but I'm also of the mindset that you don't need more than one Edward, and people have attempted to argue otherwise. So, plenty of strategies and plenty of options. Just depends on what you take and what you decide to hold on to.
Yeah, there's many ways to defeat. There's aromas at the end, and we've seen a lot throughout the beginning stages of Highway to the Threemus Zone tournament.
Yeah, and that grimoire that they both found in the Damsian basement, that can be pretty helpful. That can definitely save you in a clutch moment. That'll summon anything that can be summoned. So a clutch Odin or a clutch Bahamut can definitely turn the tide of an early battle.
And a silly Chocobo can, well, make you feel silly.
I mean, not everything has to be wonderful.
I guess that's why they invented the reset button. That is something I've done. I think specifically in the back attack spot on ordeals, I've 3 or 4 times. Oh, look at that, a Leviathan. Okay, I'll take that one.
Well, there's Tella number 3, but he comes with an edge.
DD does, and when Dathus makes that check, he'll be pretty happy, and I'm sure Imperial Dragon is happy as well. She just hasn't found the Mega Sword yet.
Yeah, Dathus also found some nice information spotting Wyvern in the waterfall. That is a fight we don't have to do. Anytime you can get through a seed and not have to deal with Wyvern, you feel that much better.
Yep, you can forget about her right now.
That is going to be a Palom up on Mount Hobbs being held hostage by Baigan.
Well, not a chocobo, but I don't think it's going to do too much.
Baigan is getting some revenge on the Bard for that dragon cast.
I guess it was cold and tickly. I mean, if that had been one of the big casts, that would have been a nice sweep away of the 3 segments of Baigan and would have gotten that Palom on board online right away.
Yep, instead gonna have to slug it out a little bit. Imperial, over on that fight, pulls out Sylph from the Grimoire, which is a better pull, honestly.
It is. It's going to eliminate that middle section, and this fight's not going to last too much longer.
No, she already had a little advantage with that edge, but that just makes it go all the better.
And let's see if she decides to do the deep dive to the back of Hobbs, and maybe she'll pull her own ninja sword from that side. Though I guess Dathus could follow as well. And there she goes.
Yeah, Dathus clears that out by way of a Gaia drum, so already both of our runners making good use of the loot they found. Those consumable items paying out in that early fight before getting the characters who can do that on their own.
Yeah, and they're the kind of items you want to use early because they lose effectiveness the longer the seed goes. And, you know, I guess except for a Grimoire, which you could always high roll a Bahamut or a Leviathan, but, you know, a Gaia drum 35 or 40 minutes from now is going to count for a lot less.
Yeah. Especially with that Palom around, he will just learn how to Quake on his own.
So I think we're seeing Divergence, and then we're going to see Convergence after this. As soon as he gets to that edge, his Dathus is going to head to Antline, where Imperial is diving in now. And then I think at that point, they pretty much would have overlapped all their checks, I guess aside from Waterfall.
Yeah, that was just a quick peek from Dathus. I'm still curious with the characters that we've been receiving, who's going to be the first one to actually go underground?
Yeah, if it was me, I guess I'd be waiting. If not for my final party, at least I'd want to be really happy with 4 of them, because you always have that hope and that chance that you find sirens and you can get those first. That first little level boost, and I don't like doing that if I have a character I know is not going to be there for the long term.
Yeah, that is a fair call. There's also just not as many opportunities to get a new character down there. Pretty much all of our character checks are here in the overworld.
So we know we have a Porum in the inn, and neither has checked or deals yet. And I think that's it, aside from gated characters.
Yep.
No one has peaked Kaipo yet, so we don't know who the Sand Ruby is gating.
But you know, if I'm being honest, I'm looking at this party, I'm thinking I would drop Edward for a white mage, but that's about it. And even without, like, Edward as an anchor is fine.
Yeah, I would agree. I would be happy grabbing that Porum and then just going with that party. Chance for potentially a D machine if you find a darkness not too late.
Although with that pass, we might not care about the Darkness Crystal at all. This is an objective set that doesn't require, necessarily, going to the moon. And, yeah, that's objective 3 sorted out for Imperial Dragon.
Yep, she can do that whenever she wants. And like you said, even if the darkness isn't found, that could be the very last thing she does before going to fight the Big Bad Z. Here's some divergence.
Yeah, Dathus following those objectives, taking on the Baron infights. Imperial Dragon looking to just clear out the overworld and kind of follow it properly, knowing she's got that one in the bag already.
And there's one of those bosses in the second spot that is not free.
Yeah, Mom Bomb, it's a thing. She gets a nice boost of HP no matter where you find her, and finding her in a spot that's not super high in that regard, it's just going to drag out the fight even more, make it more difficult to deal with. And then she explodes.
Good. I like the blink on the edge, though, because he is the main damage dealer. I think that's going to help Dathus's cause here.
Now we have Imperial Dragon taking on the Fobul defense spot. This, as you're saying, Michael Kors, is like one of those spots that people try to avoid, and it's Golbez, so I would avoid it even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible spot, but it is. Yeah, it's a bit of a time sink, and depending on who he decides to hit with his first spell, could get a little dicey.
Yeah, I mean, Golbez is slow no matter where you find him. As long as you have a full party, you have to deal with Shadow Dragon having a snack, and it takes forever. And then you got to clean up after the meal, and it's a whole thing.
What are we cleaning up? The crumbs of our fallen comrades?
Well, I mean, when you say it like that, it makes it sound morbid.
It does. Yeah, let's...
Let's just focus on the tower key that Dathus has now picked up from taking care of the bosses at Baron Inn. So that's an objective and a key item out of the way. And a little more nudge to go underground.
Yes, absolutely. It's always nice to get an objective done before 15 minutes have gone by, and... Oh, gotta climb more deals. I wonder if just for the character, or he does have the Tella. They both have the Tella, and that's how you unlock all of the spells that Tella can possibly know, because right now he's a bit limited.
And pulling out some impressive vanilla / dark matter hunt knowledge, every chocobo forest in the game has at least one item hidden in its grass, and that is randomized just like everything else. So finding the Deathbringer sword, the black sword, that only Dark Knight Cecil can use, about to be completely useless, but hey, there was a thing there.
There was. It's always a bummer when you go in and you tap your button and nothing pops open, but at least you got the satisfaction of a chest opening, even if, as you said, it's an object that is quickly going to be rendered obsolete when Ordeals is completed, regardless of whether a Cecil is found or not.
Yeah, I don't believe we actually have any kind of guarantee that Cecil will be in the seed at all, and certainly with the vanilla agility, unless you find yourself really kitted out, you're not likely to take him, even if you do come across him.
That's true. We haven't even seen, say, a light sword or even an ice brand, let alone an Excalibur crystal sword at this point, so yeah. Oh, do you see what Imperial Dragon got there?
Oh, yeah. That is amazingly... wow. That just goes in the face of every strategy that our runners have come to know in the Zenith zone.
You're talking about the tower key being a bit of a pull down to the underground. Well, that's a shove. That is telling you, dump that magma key right now.
Aside from a vanilla pan, that's maybe the most adverse place it can be in terms of that common desire to avoid Fobul until you have the pan, just so you can do it all in one fell swoop. This is requiring multiple swoops. Yeah,
I was thinking when I saw Imperial facing the Golbez, like, that's a fight, that when you get through it, you want to have something tangible. You don't want the king of Fabul just to give you, say, a drain spear or something. And that's pretty much as good as it gets. Under 20 minutes, it's not like you're going back, close to an hour mark and, the pan was there the whole time. So I think Imperial's probably feeling pretty good about her decision.
Now, of course, we're talking about this as if it's going to be major. We have no idea what's behind the pan at any of those spots. And there are, multiple checks or multiple key item spots involved in having the pan. So there's a fair chance that it's useful, but also a fair chance that it's nothing.
That's true. All 3 checks could end up being just items, and they could be great items, but not progress. Or, I guess the dream for a runner would be a sand ruby and perhaps a darkness crystal, even though that's not even required at this point. And then the seed would indeed be a jet seed.
Yeah, looking at it right now, we are, technically speaking, we are 2 items from go mode in terms of what we know about.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that being the sand ruby and darkness crystal. And even then, you really only need the sand ruby. We'll just assume darkness crystal for vanilla pathing.
Yeah, and perhaps if they're looking for a way to level, though they do have the ninja edge, and we're still on the flag set that lets you steal sirens. I was going to say maybe they would need a moon shop check to look for sirens, but you have sirens available whenever you want them if you have ninja edge.
Well, so in theory, once Imperial Dragon leaves this mountain, she could just go. That is a sand ruby at the top of ordeals.
And there it is. our under 20 minutes, and we have the items we need. And I was just blabbing on and on about ninja stealing sirens, and we might be about to see that.
Folks wondering if we're going to see Eddie strats for Threemus. I think both of our runners got rid of their Edwards. Certainly Imperial Dragon now has. I'm pretty sure Dathus did a little while ago. So that option is not currently on the table. But also at the same time, with how fast the seed has gone so far, you would be spending half of the seed in that Threemus fight doing Eddie strats.
Yep. You'd be in that fight, and you'd be half bored, but also half tense as you possibly can be, because it's a very effective strat, but it takes a long time, and one slip up and it's over, and you could possibly throw away 5, 10 or more minutes. So we'll have to see if, again, with the readily available sirens, I'd be surprised if they just don't go for a grind.
Well, before any grind happens, Dathus is going to deal with the true boss, town NPCs, and then pick up a Rosa out of the Kaipo bed, taking care of objective number 2, and probably fleshing out his party that much better. I would be very happy to see a vanilla Rosa in that situation.
We refer to when we see the Demus as the bonus round, but I like, you turn in an objective item and you get a really powerful white mage in your party. And let's see, so Dathus Dathus doesn't he can be in go mode as soon as he wants, but just as you said, to flesh out that party, that would be his current party is something I would be very happy going to the end with.
Yeah, and then honestly, it's not even like a very unusual check to make to get him in go mode, because that pass was in Antlion Cave, wasn't it? That's a very standard early spot to hit.
And he is very close, so he might go there. He might say to himself, well, let me just make this quick check before I throw the magma key down the well.
Yeah, could also end up thinking, that's one location, that's a very early one. I've got so much more of the game open to me, namely everything that's underground. and probably feels comfortable with that party dipping under. So yeah, it goes to Agart instead. Fading Antlion, for now at least, couldn't end up being a decisive move.
Yeah, depending on the length of the fade, when he returns to it. And the pan was from Fabul, so that could also be an important thing. And in theory, the odds are low, but in theory, the pan could lead to the number one objective. So, yeah, until Dathus catches up with those checks, Imperial Dragon, she's going to be in the driver's seat.
And our tracker this evening, Gun and Pilot Spaz, noting, yes, it's been a little bit of a meme, a gag, or a running joke, however you wish to frame it, of people fading Antlion and alternatively being punished or never punished. And for this seed, if Dathus does it, that could be punished.
Yeah, I don't think he would feel too great if that was the reason that he falls in this race. I'm personally, yeah, I guess it's a little bit of a meme. I know. I think PK in our community, that's one of his pet ideas. But I understand fading ordeals if there's no reason to do it. But Antlion is so quick, especially with an edge. You know, you probably one tap of the A button and that fight's over.
Yeah, an edge to make the fight easy and a tele to make the exit easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the whole, you need certain items to be able to get underground. It's not like early locations are weighted more or less in terms of key items. So fading a late spot versus fading an early spot, it's still one location. Nothing says Antlion Cave has to have value or has to not have value.
Speaking of values, I guess it's been about a minute since Imperial Dragon has seen her Sand Ruby, and I would, if I were her, I think my heart rate would be up because I would know exactly what that means, and I'm very curious to see how much of a beeline she makes for the underground shops and how the rest of her seed progresses.
Or honestly, if she bothers with the underground shops at all. Like you were saying, the sirens are the main attraction here, but it's getting that way to grind that you're looking for. You're not looking for any items. Dathus finding the Earth Crystal down in the Fey March, that's meaningless to Imperial Dragon right now. Kind of wild to think that we're less than 25 minutes in. Imperial Dragon has the materials and knowledge for Go mode. It hasn't even left the surface. No underground, no moon.
Yeah, I've had quick seeds, but I can't think of one like this. Just getting those two items that you need in out of your first 4 checks or 5 checks, getting them both. As far as I know, Dathus still has the edge equipment advantage. I'm not sure if Imperial Dragon has picked up anything equivalent to the Mursami that is on Dathus's edge.
Nothing that I've seen for sure. Finding a fascinating couple down in the Fey March. The karate fight, Yang, and the Kai. That would be the Baron Guards.
Yeah, it's a trio. There's three enemies down there to fight, but 2 boss fights.
And both fights that punch quite hard.
Yep, and both have easy ways to get through them, though the Karate Man on the left requires a Paladin Cecil, and we have not seen any kind of Cecil so far. And if Dathus were to check the shop and find some hourglasses in the item shop, then he would have a way through the Baron Guards, which do not have that all-important boss bit and can be affected by all sorts of things.
Dathus here doing his due diligence, hitting the shops, hitting the treasure in the dwarf village, and yes, an electric meter installer, we salute you.
So electricity is finally coming to Tamra.
I mean, it's a remote location. I'm not surprised that it took a little bit of time.
Guess some kind of shielding to get over the lava. I don't know how deep we want to dig into this, but the worker is there.
Yeah, I believe it's some kind of mithril shielding that they use. They cover that in the vanilla game. That's a plot point.
Yeah, I think that would be up to code, mithril.
Yeah.
Sorry, I asked and chat pointed out that those Feymarch bosses were lifted directly from the Baron Inn.
They were, actually.
Yep.
But, the objective number 4 does mean the bosses that are at the Baron Inn, not the bosses from the Baron Inn. So, no need to go down there for that objective, as Dathus already knows. Yes, just to recap, as we have a raid coming in and Imperial Dragon finishing up Objective 2, heading over to do Objective 4, it's fast. This seed has been a quickie, for sure. A jet seed, perhaps. As Imperial Dragon already has everything she needs to clear out the set of 3 objectives and hit go mode. Dathus just needs to hit the Antlion Cave.
Yep, the Antlion Fate is currently in effect for Dathus. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how many checks he decides to do underground. No sirens yet. I believe in the first 2 underground. All 3 of them? Or did we?
I think we hit all of them, yeah. Because he did go down to the Feymarch and to Tamra.
Yep. So Edge will just have to roll up his sleeves and get to work stealing from floating spherical robots.
But hey, on the plus side, those floating spherical robots have a theoretically infinite amount of sirens, so just have to find the one and go to town.
And I'm assuming that Dathus swapped out, the Rosa in for the Porm. The Porm does have that cry ability that makes the stealing a little easier, but I don't think it'll matter too much when Dathus decides to grind.
I will be very curious to hear. I know before the race, our restreamer, Lady Starscream, was looking at the objectives, and there was a bit of concern that this could end up being a very quick one, and with that having to come to pass, I'm sure I want to hear the reaction when we're done. Sometimes you look at the characters, you look at the objectives, and you just know.
Yeah, it all came down to the Sand Ruby. Was that going to be hidden deep on the moon somewhere? No. It was up on Ordeals. Both runners got it. Both runners have done that objective. Imperial Dragon looks like she's about to wrap up objective number 4. And she can do objective 3 whenever she feels ready to complete the seed.
Yeah, so for those just coming in from RPG Limit Break, yes, we are 30 minutes in, and Imperial Dragon is about to enter go mode, about to look at her grind options. Dathus, meanwhile, has to stare down this Golbez, only to find that the king had the cutlery. Or, not the cutlery, the cookware. The pan. The cutlery comes later. Some games you can misspeak like that, and it still is clear what you're talking about. Here, no, there's a difference between the cookware and the cutlery in terms of important items.
Yeah, like any high quality RPG, you need cookware and cutlery.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and did the king switch towers, or did Sheila go to the king's tower? Yeah.
I think the king of Fabul just took up the culinary arts, is what it comes down to.
Okay, and she was like, "Oh, I have this pen you can borrow." I see. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're king. Like, maybe you're worried about people poisoning your food. So, like, no, I'm gonna learn to cook myself. So this is a valuable life skill.
That seems reasonable.
Golbez being very. Oh, go ahead. I
was going to say, our tracker Gundam pointing out that if Dathus continues to fade antline and gets that pan, and that pan leads to, several other key items that gate, long checks, that could be bad for Dathus's chances.
Yeah, we were saying that pan does lead to a set of 3 item locations. So if you're playing the numbers and playing the odds, yeah, that looks pretty good. But it turns out that none of those 3 are strictly required.
That's appropriate. Dathus threw Golbez with just Yang standing.
Yeah, because Golbez had to be a jerk and knock down the 150 HP Rosa with a 151 HP hit. Here we have Imperial Dragon opening the path to the underworld at about 33 minutes with that magma key that we started off with. And it's just doing that siren hunt, doing that shopping at this point.
And Dathus got a second Murasame from Sheila 1, doubling his katana advantage over Imperial Dragon.
Yeah, those katanas are pretty sharp, but I don't know if they're going to be sharp enough to get into her lead right now. Especially with Dathus heading over here to Troya. With that Earth Crystal, there's a chance of a treasury pass and a chance of going up that tower.
Yeah, I'm thinking definitely treasury, but is Dathus going to climb Zot? Which could lead to a legend or an adamant, but again, not the quickest route through the seed. But he doesn't know that at this point.
Yeah. At this point, I would hate to see a sort of like 7 out of 10 treasury with Murasame or Masamune, just given, Dathus doesn't need that. Instead, we find
edges already.
Instead, we find a decent collection of axes, mainly.
But also that power shirt and that Zeus gauntlet for that double Murasame edge.
Mm-hmm.
Though it looks like Yang's gonna get to wear the good stuff.
At least some of it. Imperial Dragon finding the warrior chest in this path. There's always that one trap chest down here in the Fey March route. We may be a little sparse on the treasure, having 40% of chests preluded for your inconvenience. But those fights ain't going nowhere.
Nope. They remain. Yeah, Dr. Casa can check, asking if there was a tricky early boss at Antline. Nope, Dathus just... And as our tracker Gundam pilot, Spaz is pointing out, we had the magma key start, so maybe that just put Antline out of his mind. And I believe the boss there was the Kaipo guards.
I believe so, yes.
So not only was it not a hard boss, it was a free boss in one of the earliest spots.
Yeah, which is not the sort of thing that you generally like to see. You want the free bosses to come late, where you can maximize the freeness. But considering our moon is completely haunted and even our underground is like a little spooky, it doesn't really matter at this point.
suppose Dathus's best hope is if this is one half of the forge objective, and then where would that second one be? That could help catch him up a little bit.
Well, we have Evil Wall as the first fight. If Mist Dragon perhaps is the second fight, then that introduces the chance of an all-in-one and getting your Excalibur out of the deal.
That's true. I think I'm now rooting for that, just to see the two runners perhaps have a jet seed for two different reasons.
Although Dathus would still have the question of how do you get to the moon?
That's true.
Imperial Dragon down in Feymarch seems a bit indecisive as to what she's going to do here. I don't think she checked what the fights were, so doesn't know that it's the remote Baron-in franchise, as it were.
Yeah, both taking a trip underground. I don't think she has hourglasses. So they're going to be a great way to get through those Baron guards at this point. I don't see any mute bells.
Nope, nothing to make this fight easy.
Thinking about it. Going for it.
Yeah, we have not seen sirens in any shop. I don't believe we have hit every single one of them. But yeah, I think the only ones left are gated at this point.
Big hits from those guards in this spot. 2 hits, 2 characters down, third character down.
Yep, that is a quick not happening.
It's funny when you see that fight in that spot. It's, with one item it's free, and without that item, it's at these levels, it's just not doable.
Yeah, there are other strategies available. Mentioning size is a possibility. I don't know what else they're susceptible to, but generally speaking, those guards do not have the boss bit. So non-boss strategies are available. And as it turns out, so is another edge up in Zot that Dathus is going to gladly take.
Swapping out the Palom. Guess Tella will take care of any of the black magic utility spells, especially if Dathus eventually goes dwarf and is looking to do the warp glitch, which allows access to the item in the sealed cave for free.
Yeah, that glitch basically makes pretty much any black mage that you find a necessity, and especially getting them up to a level where they can actually do it. In the case of Rydia or Palom.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that Palom was. I think it's level 29 for Palom. I'm not sure if his Palom was there yet. And Tella, of course, gets that spell as soon as you complete Ordeal. So Tella is ready to go with that if Dathus chooses to do dwarf.
But of course, to get there and do all that, he has to get through this final fight in Zot, which is hardly a fight at all.
It's 3 swings and an exit, literally.
It's like playing baseball. 3 swings and you're out.
And you get a souvenir that you get to look at when you get to your bedroom at home, and we'll see if it's something that is going to help Dathus's cause in a matter of a minute or so. Imperial Dragon got the Bahamut summon from the Sylph Cave pan check. Guess without Iridia, that's just a big pile of cash, though she hasn't sold it yet.
Yeah, on the one hand, if you're going to take Iridia, it would be early on so that you can get her the levels and all that over the course of the seed. And it's not like we're that late into the seed, except we're in go mode. We're late into the seed. Time is an illusion right now.
I've heard the phrase age is just a number, and I've heard that more the older I get, and I guess in this case the time of the seed is just a number because here we are in go mode.
Yeah. As Dathus picks up the Luca key from the top of the Tower of Zot, which, not useful in this flag set. Just not useful.
No, the one case we haven't seen Mr. Egg, and that would be the one case where that might be useful, but yeah, I would agree the odds of that are low. We see Dathus checking the chest in Lower Babel. This is the place where you get the sirens, which are the item that allow you to summon the rarest fight in a location. And when you're underground, that typically means the eggs that get you 34,000 experience or 68,000 once you hit 10 key items, though. Neither of our runners is too close to that number yet. Let's see if we grab some.
Yep, looks like Dathus, it's time for him to get sneaky. Grabbing siren after siren with that pair of edges.
Looks like Imperial Dragon's going to do her Sheila 2 check. If it's Hook or Darkness, that will open up another shop, which could be huge for her.
Really, I think you would be hoping more for the Darkness Crystal because, yes, it opens up a shop. It also opens up that D-Machine grind. And
that's true.
Yeah, that's what's on your mind, probably. But nope, just more... Oh no, that's Sheila 1, pardon me. Sheila 2 was the Darkness Crystal, so...
You summoned it.
I should be worried about my capacity as a summoner, then.
I haven't studied this. Imperial Dragon now in Super Go mode. Yeah, and your idea, I wonder if she was holding out, if she had in her mind the whole time, when she didn't see them for sale. Maybe she wants to do a D-Machine rather than some kind of siren-based grind.
Well, coming over here to Troya, check out these shops, and I suspect we'll take care of Objective 3 and just clear that out so she can just focus on the large and valuable D-Machine grind, and then straight to Zeromus. No need to think or worry about anything else.
Though she will, if she does that, she will get the crystal, but unfortunately that will not put her at 10 key items, which would speed up that grind considerably. I think it's going to put her at 7 if she does it.
Yep. The pass, it's shown on our tracker. It's very important. It is not considered a key item in this logic. And so Imperial Dragon not even bothering to do that. Too far away, it's not going to make the difference.
Unless
I have summoned falsely. Look, I wasn't the one who said I was a good summoner. You said it, not me. I'm simply here to prove you wrong.
Well, there's that crystal. Everything needed to fight Zeromus is on the table except for the power.
Yeah, without that Edward or some other clever strats that I've only heard whispers of and do not actually know if they truly exist, going to Zeromus with your levels in the teens is a bit premature.
Yeah, I think thanks a lot to Zilch and other members of the community, there is now a viable 1,200 hit point single character strat. But I think with this flag set and the access to the grinds available, I think it's still probably quicker to grind and safer. Because again, while that strat is effective, one slip up and it's over, and you've lost the time that you might as well have spent grinding.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to be very happy to see the Zeus Gauntlet and Power Shirt coming up in this treasury. Cleaning out the inventory along the way. Most of the stuff will not be needed ever again in this seed. Aside from the sirens, did you notice what Dathus got from that chest? Because I did not.
No, I was not looking at that moment.
Save us, Gundam.
Ah, the Avenger Sword. A lovely, wonderful weapon that nobody in his party can use. Oh, what if we had a Kane or a Cecil? Or actually, those are the only two who can use it, I believe.
Yep, that's it. One of them and some other decent weapon to swap it out for.
Well, speaking of Cecil,
There he
turns
is.
out, yeah, he's a boss in a very easy location, so not actually.
He was a boss.
He was a boss. Past tense. This proper grammar here.
I would have loved to see the damage that the Dark Waves did there, but no chance of even seeing that. My guess is tiny damage. Exactly tiny.
Can it do negative?
Yeah, it probably heals.
So yes, that was the freest of free fights. The cannon room is almost never a serious problem. So at least you get one of the potentially dangerous fights out of the way that way. But Imperial Dragon... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say with the Dark Knight Cecil, there are some spots that when you see him there, you tremble.
Yeah, like in the Giant.
That's one of them. Also in the Fey March.
Yep.
One of the spots.
Yeah, we see that is the Magus Sisters on Dathus' side and the Big Whale on Imperial Dragon's side.
The Big Whale raised but not boarded yet.
Nope, she needs to go and set up the RNG, as it were.
Did she save and reset? Because I believe that isn't a part of this setup.
It doesn't look like she did.
I hope she's about to. Very good.
Yeah, what she is up to here is a bit of manipulation, a bit of fiddling, to make sure that you get the right encounter at the right time. Entirely because we have one of the settings that prevents you from running from any fight, ever.
Even this one.
Yeah, this little, measly little sword rat, no, you'll never escape.
So I see Frostbite thinking it's 5. I thought I counted 6, but either way, that's she's gonna be able to do it. So if it's 5, she has to take one more fight. If it was step 6, that's the only fight she needs to take. So we'll see what she does.
I would not be surprised if these pauses are Imperial Dragon consulting the guide. Because this information has been dissected and charted out. There are spreadsheets. And any runner's ability to actually keep it in their head consistently is impressive.
Did you see what Dathus just got? Because we are halfway to a close race.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh, I would love for his party to fall into the airship and be handed a legend sword at this point.
Now again, Dathus does not actually have a way to Threemus. It's lacking the pass or the darkness crystal. Imperial Dragon holding on to both of those. But we'll be sitting in a more comfortable spot in terms of key items. So that does accelerate the grind that much more.
Yeah, and I would hope that if the low odds, but if it did happen and he did receive the legend sword, I think then that pan would be the next thing he would want to check. Because as you mentioned earlier, check your freebies, one of our mantras.
Yeah, and that would get him the darkness crystal, which would be key item number 10, which would be double experience on your grind. That speeds it up that much more.
Speaking of grind, we should be seeing Imperial Tron encounters on this next screen.
And now Dathus just gets a coffin to put that dream of an easy objective 1 into. For that dream is dead.
I would like to resuscitate it, though. Maybe that coffin can be used against the Baron Guards. And then the Baron Guards lead to... I want this race to tighten up.
I'm with you. But so far, Imperial Dragon looks to be in position for that D-Machine grind, and Dathus is just running the circles of the underworld.
He finds a dancing king.
Taking on Odin. Yeah. I've not known a king to dance on a horse, but Odin can do it because he's Odin.
I mean, the horse kind of looks like it's mid-dance move of some sort.
I can't say I've ever seen a horse dance. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I'm just saying I haven't seen it.
Well, if you'd like to, we are in a channel right now called the Ocho. I mean, not the network we're on. And thank you, Randomania, for allowing, for being our partner network and allowing free enterprise races. But the name of our voice channel is the Ocho, and that is where I think you could see horse dancing.
I'm aware of dressage. I'm aware enough to know how it's pronounced. That doesn't mean I've seen it. Speaking of things that I'm aware of and not always sure how to pronounce, here's Cecil.
Yep, and they got rid of Cecil right away.
Yeah, this far into a seed and with vanilla agility on, the correct number is either 0 or 2.
And I would say without seeing an Excal, a Crystal Sword, or even a Light Sword, the correct answer is 0. Sometimes this second fight in Dwarf Castle is super quick, 1 or 2 swings from a medium or high level party, but we have a little bit of a wait to get through some of the dialogue, but it's over. And Dathus about to get 2 checks.
Yeah, it wasn't as quick as it could be, but still not exactly difficult. The most annoying part is just getting hit with that poison, and now you got that whole thing to deal with.
I suppose we're about to find out whether or not Dathus has turned off the flash effects. One of the nice quality of life features built into Free Enterprise is you can turn off the flashing when your characters are poisoned or are walking in some of the damage tiles. But first, a bit of a warp.
All that to obtain a package. But hey, that is another key item.
Looks like he's at 8. Now he's at 9. Darkness is waiting for him with an easy check, so he could be at 10. And one quick trip to Antline, and he could make up a lot of ground.
Yeah, he just needs to make that trip. And honestly, given some of the other things that I've seen in that spot, using a rat tail as a necklace is not that bad. You know, not nearly as awkward as a twin harp.
Mm-hmm.
Not nearly as confusing and surreal as a summon. I'm like the logistics of that, very confused.
Or say the item that was just received from the warp, an explosive package.
Or that. While we're having a laugh about that, Imperial Dragon not having a laugh about the steam machine grind. It has gone awry. No.
That is not a good feeling. I would say she was at least halfway through the number she wanted.
Yeah, there's a lot of care that has gone into figuring out that D-Machine grind between vanilla speedrunners and the Free Enterprise community. So there's plenty of knowledge on how to do it safely, but it's never a guarantee. It's always possible that one of those weak casts will miss, something else will go awry, and it just all falls down from there.
Yeah. Yep. It can collapse very quickly if that teller goes down, unfortunately. And PK asking a question in chat. I don't know if you want to give the answer, Huffman.
Yeah, where was the pass? Just the old Lion Cave, just a little old place like that. No big deal.
Who goes there?
Yeah, it's whatever. Dathus doesn't need it. He has the Darkness Crystal. You don't need the pass to do one of the objectives on this seed. Don't worry about it. You kind of need the pass to do one of the objectives.
Yeah, and I didn't see what Imperial Dragon ran into with the D-Machine, but it looks like chat said an aim was missed because if Rose is in that middle slot, aim can actually give you too much aim, I guess is one way of thinking it, and then you end up missing.
I like to imagine it's like that legend, like the Robin Hood archer shoots one and then the other one splits that arrow that they just shot.
So it's
something like that.
So it's like the first arrow is absorbing the damage and just being split.
Yeah, it's something like that, only it makes more sense.
Meanwhile, look where Dathus is going.
Hey, it's Antlion Cave. Dathus is going to be in go mode as soon as he completes this obligatory fight.
Does have a few characters at 1 hit point. I think he's going to make it through, though.
Considering these soldiers seem incapable of hitting anything, I think he's fine.
Yep, this check now at this point with 10 key items is a momentum shift, especially with Imperial Dragon's unfortunate D-Machine wipe.
Yeah, I have to imagine Dathus probably feels a fair bit behind because that pass was so readily accessible. So he is, 35, 40 minutes late to go mode, as it were. But Imperial Dragon, the moment you take a wipe on a D-Machine grind, you feel terrible.
Yep, and Dathus spent several minutes stealing 20 sirens from one of those alerts in Lower Babel, so he's got a different route to get his levels.
Yep, one that is still, there's still the possibility for something to go wrong. If you don't do enough damage with your swings, that dragon will hatch and start doing percentage-based damage. But if you can just swing for more than, say 16, 1700 every time, you're not worried anymore.
I would heal here because I tend to worry, so I would want to take that off the table.
Oh yeah, no, let it be known that I am terrified on Dathus' behalf.
I think he's fine. Those edges are swinging for 2k or a little under 2k, and I think those things have, around 1800 hit points.
Yeah, I in my head, I always have it as like 16 or 17, but generally speaking, I'm coming in here either with a bunch of coffins or with someone that's consistently doing 2k. 1440 is not enough. That edge needs to be informed of this.
Well, his twin picked him up. Imperial Dragon heading back to the Giant. I think still either runner's race, an efficient Imperial Dragon D-Machine grind could put her right back in this.
Yeah, and if Dathus continues to fade healing, as he faded Antlion Cave, then he's putting himself at risk for something going awry as well.
Looks like 59 hit points above the needed level there. Suppose this would be a good time to acknowledge our behind-the-scenes folks for tonight. We have Leggy Starscream doing our restreaming, and Gundam Pilot Spaz on tracking. And he had to click a lot of those objective buttons pretty early on.
Yeah, we always appreciate the folks taking care of things behind the scenes and making sure everything actually works right, which can be a bit of a challenge sometimes.
And thank you for sharing the booth with me, Huffin.
Yeah, no problem. We just get to sit here and make jokes and pretend we know what we're talking about, or maybe that's just me.
I don't think anyone's the wiser. I think we're doing a good job fooling everyone and having a good time doing it.
Yeah, they'll never suspect a thing.
And yeah, please throw our runners a follow. Dathus and Imperial Dragon. I'm relatively new to the community back in February, and I think they've been here quite a bit longer than that and are great folks to hang around with in our Discord, which is also a great place. If you see this, if you are me, because me last year was watching this, and then me this year is playing this. So if this looks like fun to you, it is. Take my word for it. Join our Discord. It's the friendliest Discord on the internet, helpful people, and a really fun game that will give you hours upon hours of entertainment.
Yeah, and honestly, if what you're seeing here, you're like, oh, this is really impressive. I don't know how to do half of this stuff that they're doing. Don't worry about it. There are lots of configurations, a lot of flag sets. You don't have to make things nearly as hard on yourself as we do for the Threemus zone, and certainly when we get to table flags, it'll be that much harder. But you'll always have that question to ask of whose butt will be kicked. And when will that butt be kicked? Will Dathus do it now?
It's going to happen at some point. He's all ready to do it. I did not check his levels, but his levels look pretty darn high.
Yeah, he's in the high 40s. So that's where you're getting in a good range. Especially when you've got some edges and some good old Hanzo steel. Got probably the best white mage to have around. I say probably only because I know Porum has her fans, and I don't want to upset folks. But it's Rosa.
Just for the hit points at this stage, and she has some decent gear. She's got that silent staff and the protect ring to hopefully give her some survivability against a big bang.
So yeah, Dathus is heading up to the Zeromus fight. We know it's Zeromus. It's always Zeromus. But what Zeromus will it be?
Yeah, that's why we're seeing all those Z flags. Longtime fans of Free Enterprise know we're about to see a work of art in the form of a final boss. I guess right now I'm rooting for the, I think it's Barkley-Miss, Charles Barkley, doing a monster dunk on the party.
I've seen that. It's very good.
Yep. That arm reaches, I think, would be hitting some of those edges, perhaps, or getting pretty close.
I have finally been party to the glory that is Potato-Miss. It's just a potato.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, so yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that one tonight.
Yeah, between Fourface and Scala Kitty and possibly others that I'm not aware of, there's several hundred possibilities, and many of them are quite good references, and some of them are just straight up hilarious.
Yeah, they're
and then some of them are a little dapper.
This guy looks like he's got places to go.
Yeah, places to go, needles to throw.
So in our first round of this tournament, we had groups named after different characters from a variety of games, and Cactuar was one of them, but neither of these runners came out of that group.
Yeah, I don't actually remember what groups these two came from.
I think we had a Gilgamesh from Dathus, and Imperial Dragon was in Phoenix.
Ah.
But all of that's irrelevant now. They just want this win, and right now Dathus is poised if he can get this Z fight, get through it.
Yep, taking a pretty easy early script. Not the most nerfed I've seen from Big Bang, but enough to make sure everyone is still alive, still in good health, and that Cure 4 will top everyone off. And from there, it's just a lot of Bacchus.
Yeah, these melee characters are doing not Crystal Sword level damage, but the three of them combined, they are doing a good amount. It looks like 6k or more per round. Maybe even closer to 8. Yeah, this looks like a very comfy Z fight for Dathus at this point.
Absolutely. And that Tella doing what he does best, outside of exiting from dungeons, taking a nap to hold down agility.
Yeah, we often see when a new viewer joins the stream, they ask, well, why is that character down all the time or down during Z? And as Hupfin just mentioned, if you have a slow enough character for your Z fight, it actually, in essence, equalizes the speed with our speedy final boss and allows our melee characters to take a number of hefty swings in rapid fashion.
Yeah, I believe in Final Fantasy VIII it's referred to as time dilation, but in Final Fantasy IV we call it agility anchoring. Those are definitely the same thing, right? I haven't played 8. So.
I do. Neither have I. So yeah, keeping with our theme, yes, that's exactly the same thing. Yeah, that last big bang hit.
Oh, we're already at rocks.
Yeah, that last big bang, if that had triggered the rocks, that would have been dangerous, but Dathus, I believe, is safely through at this point.
Yep,
there's our flash.
There's our GGs.
Congratulations to Dathus, going 2-0, guaranteeing a spot in at least the second play-in, but he's going to be going for a clean sweep 3-0 with his next race, which would get him, I believe, 2 shots getting into table. So Dathus has got to be feeling pretty good, especially after skipping out on that antline for so long.
Yeah, and even with that antline faded for so long, a time of 1:12:06. That's very fast.
That is speedy. What a jet seed was rolled today by our restreamer Leggy Starscream. And I think the winner of our seed, Dathus, has joined us. Congratulations and GG, Dathus.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Hey.
We got you. So, I mean, you just don't like those easiest checks, huh?
I channeled my inner PK. I don't know what it was. I even looked as I went back in the overworld, like, huh, there's Antlion. I should go check that. Do the check. See Sheila, what she's got and everything first. Fine, I'll go do Antlion. And then I saw it pass like this. Well, time to start screaming as I run down and do my siren grind.
What were you in abject panic when you saw that? Was there that fear?
I'm surprised you couldn't hear both edges screaming the entire time they were attacking those dragons, going, kill faster so I can get to Z.
I mean, I do internally always imagine edges screaming, so there is that.
I mean, absolutely. When you have a pair of them, it was in stereo.
So it sounds like there were several times you knew Antlion was there, but you kept finding other checks that you preferred to make at the time?
I actually completely forgot about it until I came back in the overworld after doing Dwarf Castle and Tower of Zot. I'm like, there's Tower of Babel. I'm like, oh yeah, Antlion's a thing. Well, guess I'll deal with it later.
Well, how about early in the seed? Was it a thought, or did the magma key start kind of wipe it from the list of possibilities in your head?
Magma Key Start, I guess, kind of made me sleep on it a bit. I looked at it as I was running through Damcian, and I just was like, you know what? We're gonna go do this after I have every other character I want to try and find first. Tella makes, like, getting out of that place especially really easily, so I was like, oh, this is fantastic for going wherever the heck I want. And I just absolutely forgot about it, to be completely honest. I had the idea, like, okay, so we got Edge now, so I can go to the overworld. I've got Team Love Anna, so let's go get our deals so I can get Tella online in case I need whatever he's got going. Then it was, we got to do Baron Inn. Then it was pretty much like anything else. And it's like, okay, now let's go underground. Let's go do this, and just Antlion faded further and further from my mind.
Well, at the end of the day, you weren't that punished. So, is this going to remain part of your strategy? Are you on Team PK for good now?
I don't know. This may actually deter me from Team PK's Fade Antlion. Although he is right about there is no law when you have that Thunderclaw. That I got those 2 Thunderclaws seeing Odin in Dwarf Castle. I'm like, yes, I have 2 friends you would like to meet.
So we're gonna put it on the Thunderclaws and not the mini Murasame that you found as well, which I'm sure helped a bit.
Sheila having the goods and that deep watery. I'm pretty sure I found the first one in Watery Pass. I could be mistaken.
No, it was Watery Pass.
Okay, yeah, the deep Watery Pass dive. Again, the telestart is like, okay, we go as far in as we possibly can, and then we leave, and never punish. I saw that, and my honest first thought was, perfect for Sir not appearing in the seed. Go to Mysidia. Oh, hey, look, there's Edge. Oh, hey, look, another Tella. All right, we'll deal with you later, friend.
Yeah, the seed just dealt it right into your hand, and Imperial Dragon kind of made a half deep push, and she actually exited out before getting that first Morisame. We have a question that came up in chat from Dishmu, and I don't know the details of this, but he mentions last week you had a D machine that went south. Are you less inclined to do that grind, and could you maybe fill us in on what happened with the previous D machine grind?
So the D machine grind went south because I keep forgetting how much MP my Tella has, so I'll have a D machine up and he'll have about 12 MP after throwing an Ether 1 on him, and I'm like, right, that thing I needed to feed you during this rotation, and it never goes south to the point where I lose my D machines, but they get to the point where the screaming you would hear on the way down to the grind for the eggs was the same screaming internally for not losing that D machine grind. But no, I love the D machine grind. It's great. I'm still getting used to the new manip. I occasionally overstep or understep, so I will never not love it.
What percentage of a seed are you typically screaming, Dathus?
Look, next question, please. Start to finish.
I was gonna say, I think we just asked a yes or no question of you.
Pretty much.
So yes, this puts you at 2-0 in the hook route. How are you feeling about getting to table at this point?
The dream is alive. I don't know how it's alive, but the dream is alive. Going from 0-3 to 3-0 would be one heck of a backswing. If I make it to tables, it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see who decides to draw me in their group, but mostly just excited to see who's going to be in my next round for the hook route.
Yeah, with 3-0, you get a shot at that first play-in, and if you don't make that one, then you get the second. But at least right now, you're guaranteed one play-in. And as much as people are saying, the hook route is a tougher spot. I mean, hook route, magma route, either way, you're going to be in a race with a bunch of people all vying for a very limited number of spots. I don't know if you've given any thought. I mean, now that you've locked in at least one play-in, how your play style might change or not, for a race that's not just a 1v1.
I'm excited to see how it's going to hit when we hit the not 1v1 when it's backed into the group. I know during a lot of the community races, I'll hit middle of the pack. So I'm looking to hopefully land near the top, obviously, but I'm going to be a little bit more nervous, I think, than I normally get, but I'm still very optimistic.
It sounds like a good way to be, especially with what lies ahead. But congratulations on 2-0. As you said, I think you took some tough losses in the group stage, and it must feel great to win the back-to-backs.
Absolutely, it does. Even the first one, a little different, but I'll still take it. If I go further, all I know is I'm going to win this for Dishmu. It's 100% for him now.
So if you get a win, we put that in Dishmu's column. Got it.
150%. But yeah, thanks guys for doing the commentary. Thanks Leggy for rolling this seed that I'm a part of. So it was either going to be vanilla or jet. We got the latter half because I don't think we saw a single bit of vanilla. Actually, I'm very disappointed.
Rosa in the Sand Ruby.
That's true.
That's vanilla.
Yes. That was good enough. And I snap took her. I was like, "Yep, I'm sorry, Porum. Demarine's gonna be very unhappy with me, but Porum, I'm sorry. The better white mage came in."
We think you made the right choice.
Don't tell Demi that. Yeah, thanks guys.
Now, yep.
So no, go ahead.
I was just gonna bring up a silly thing that someone in chat noticed. Did you notice? Did you go down to Fey March?
I did, and it was Yang and the Baron. I wasn't sure which guards they were, but I saw that and I'm like, aha, so Baron has gone underground, have they?
They
I wonder what
have.
the music scene's like.
Oh, I'm going to be thinking about that for minutes.
Nice.
Well, congratulations on your second win, and good luck in your next race and in the play-in or play-ins.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Again, really appreciate you guys putting on this, and for Randomania for helping us out with this. Great partners. And again, Leggy for the behind-the-scenes work, along with Gundam Pilot Spaz. You guys are the real heroes. We just get to show it off.
Alright, so meanwhile, Imperial Dragon has decided to go to the moon and do a bit of last-minute fights, get a little more XP, maybe a key item or two, in this case, a spoon off the elements. We take those. Those are good to throw with this party.
Yeah, basically 10k damage against Z. Yeah, Palom not quite to nuke. I wonder if that is her plan at this stage, is to take some of these lunar bosses to get that last bit.
I would say it's a good strategy to have right now. You probably already know, you've seen the dot done, so you're going for a secure win. You're going for swag, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps with this party, that straight up hybrid with the two big bruisers up front, and then Palom at some point with nuke, and maybe even I would say, I guess Rosa has white at this point with that hit point total.
Possibly, but I didn't see it in her spell list, so not sure myself.
This isn't that fun of a spot to see, Val. I think this party will get through it.
Yeah, it's not the worst because you're still able to hit her. So you've got that going for you.
You just have to make so many hits. Big hit point spot.
Yeah. Valvelus has quite the evasion going on, and in some spots throw in some very high magic defense, and it can be downright impossible just to do any damage.
Looks like she's sitting at 8 key items, so this potentially, if both those chests are kind, could they lead? Yeah, I think there's still some key items that Dathus didn't pick up that could be in these chests. Which, if this doesn't get her to nuke, would allow the subsequent fights to get her there a little quicker.
You know, one huge downside of having one of these slower Valvelus fights is you actually do have to deal with those stones, with that petrify, and spend a turn or two actually handling that. And of course, you run the risk of getting hit by weak and then a swing on that character, just knocking them out entirely.
Yeah, this Valvalis, she's got some nasty combos. Especially if you have some kind of like important healing spell queued up and then that final ray hits you and it completely petrifies the character, preventing them. There can be some frustration there. And I am definitely speaking from experience.
Yeah, a bit same here.
Yeah, that's one of the most painful ways to lose a fight. The person's standing, but they're all gray and they're not moving, and suddenly you're perished.
And honestly, the vanilla strategy against Valveless, certainly not an option here since we don't have Kane, but that actually makes her punch more.
Right.
So not always a friendly choice. Does get through the fight with Tella down, and that's probably fine, honestly.
Yeah, he learned all he needs to learn up on ordeals.
Yeah, plus we can't have the old man getting too fast now. There's another Avenger sword. Yeah.
Yeah, another one of those great swords that this party can't use, unfortunately.
And a nice bit of armor that I don't think this party can use either.
Nope.
So yeah, we are just seeing all the ghosts up here on the moon at this point.
Wonder if she's getting geared up for Z, and I wonder if she's going to walk it down or exit out and go for the pass.
Yeah, you know, I believe it's been measured. People have done the math. They've run the numbers, and it's surprisingly slow to walk to Zeromus from virtually anywhere. But if you're already here, just walk. When the difference is, you know, a couple of seconds in the grand scheme of things, it's whatever.
Well, she's walking, but she's going upwards. I wonder if she's going to hit that crystal sword altar. Don't think she has sirens to use here, or am I wrong? Oh, she's got one.
Got one from the D machine grind. Funny enough.
Oh, wow. And there were hourglasses for sale in the moon shop, so we finally found those, which would have been useful for that Baron Guards fight, though most likely not necessary.
Yeah, but they will help out with this King Ryu fight. That does get you a fair chunk of XP. And if you can pull off a life glitch on him, just that bit more.
I think we're looking at 90k here without the 10 key items, which again, the ribbon room was unkind. Neither chest was a key item. But there is a life glitch.
Excellent. Yeah, personally, I am not positive where that crossover point is exactly, and if it's, you know, before or after which of the two save points in the lunar subterrane. I tend to be the type that, you know, if I'm on the moon and I have all my objectives done, then I'm just staying there.
I think the thing I've heard is it's only faster to walk if you're doing the swag walk from Masamune, but it's also something I have not checked. I've just heard the stories, and as you said, it's seconds if it's anything. It's definitely not. You're not saving a minute, I don't believe.
Plus, it's not exactly like I'm known to be a very fast runner. There's a reason I'm up here in the commentary booth and not out there on the field, as it were. Folks who play this very well, the folks that you see in these events, they're the ones who know.
I think we're still on that hunt for Nuke, and that's a nice fight to find. J. Brun TR perhaps making the biggest argument for doing the pass is that if you do wipe to Z, it's definitely faster to repeat the fight from the pass door than the second walk. But if you're feeling confident about your Z fight, perhaps not as big of an issue.
Yeah, very true. There is that whole, mental game aspect of it all, that confidence, that potential overconfidence, all that stuff, especially in a 1v1, does come up.
Palom getting his Meteor, not Nuke yet. But Palom does have Weak, which makes some of these grind fights a lot easier and quicker. So I guess Tella has it too, but Tella's staying on the ground.
Yeah, a big benefit that Palom has is that Palom has MP. Tella has MP, but technically speaking. 90 does not carry you very far.
The over 390 that Palom does, that makes his Palom is worth 4 Tellas at this point.
Yeah, that's 4 times as much. That's math. We've done math here.
We've done very rough math.
I mean, one day we'll do good math on stream, but today's not that day.
Well,
not if I have anything to say about it.
We just subtracted 36 from Rose's MP pool, so that counts. I'm not sure if anyone's tracking that, but there it is. I don't know if you know or if chat can help us out. I think, is Imperial Dragon getting good luck here? I feel like she's gotten a lot of these dragon fights in a row.
I'm not actually sure. It's been a long time since I've played this game in a way that would have these random encounters on this part of the subterrane. So I don't know if there's a lot of these dragon fights or how common they're going to be. I do know that if you get the alt gauntlets at this stage, you're looking at a bunch of trickers, and we've not seen any of those. So at least we get to avoid that little time waste.
Well, I believe you're about to summon one. Let's see.
No. I've set aside my grimoire. I've set aside my summoning ways, apparently.
And that's good for Imperial Dragon. These things are worth a lot of XP. That's right, the D-Bone, D-Shmoo pointing out, is here. I don't think you can get the red and blue dragon fights, which are kind of nasty. I think those are 1 level up, but maybe chat can correct me on that.
Yeah, that's generally where I'm less certain. I do know that things like the Evil Mask only come when you get into the more crystalline portions, the lower levels of the subterrane, so you can avoid those. Chat indicating that those also only appear in the crystal area.
Oh yeah, and there's that creepy enemy I think called Mind. Is that the cloud?
Yeah. The stuff that's supposed to be like Zemus's will or Zemus's breath or whatever. That just gets called Mind.
Like temporarily manifested as an enemy. Zemus multitudes.
Yeah, when you've only got so many characters to work with, you have to abbreviate here and there.
I don't think I ever made that connection. That's kind of neat. Zemus's breath and Zemus's mind. Looks like we're getting our clarification to our encounter tables here. So yeah, I guess the one I would be scared of would be the 2 blue dragons, but you don't get that on that level. I think you get that one level higher, and then you get the combos lower.
Yeah, so it looks like really the stuff you would be afraid of here are just the fights that don't give much XP. So hitting those dragons over and over is pretty convenient on that front. Really does help to know as many grind options as you can find, because if you only know 1 or 2, or especially if they're the more resource intensive ones, then better chance of getting left out and caught out.
Yeah, that can be frustrating on any seed, but especially a jet seed, when you have access, but you just need to get your levels where you're comfortable. And I don't know how much you've taken a look at the next stage's flags, the table flags. That's going to be super important because your grind options are a little throttled up with that flag set.
Yeah, because I believe sirens are not going to be in shops at all with that flag set.
Correct. Not in well, I guess really low chance you can find them in a Kokol shop. And one of the few practice seeds I've played of table, I did find them once, and it felt like a relief. But most of the time, I don't think you're going to see them. And I believe our pal Edge can't even steal them. So it's going to be pretty rare to see sirens.
Yeah, I believe it's still possible for them to show up as treasure. So I've done runs where sirens were, I had thought, turned off, but no, they still show up in some circumstances. Either way, you're still not going to have the stack that Dathus used to do that very convenient grind.
You will not. And those 1 or 2 you might find feel like bundles of gold. Get those flags out again. If you missed it the first time, you want to wave them again. We have a Z fight coming up.
Yep, slightly different party, but still pretty solid levels. I imagine we'll see more of a mixed strategy on this one compared to Dathus just wailing away with melee fighters.
That is a strong Rosa.
That's a good HP number.
From lying in a bed in Kaipo, waiting to be rescued, to nearly 3,000 hit points against the biggest enemy in the game, that's quite the evolution here.
Hey, going up against a Cactuar, you know what damage they do. Too bad it's Threemus in disguise, but still.
Yeah, I don't think the typical Cactuar nukes.
Probably not. I feel like I've seen Cactuars do some rude things, though, so I don't know.
Looks like Imperial Dragon moved her Yang to the anchor position. I wonder, did Yang hit 42? I don't know. I didn't quite notice that.
I didn't spot that either. I would have figured Tello would go in the middle because that's usually his job. But yeah, 42 as an agility stat is actually a good option because of how the whole system is set up. Far be it for me to describe it, but it does work out.
Is that where you
20
Jeebus mentioned?
28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I was overestimating how quick Yang was.
And again, my usual strategy is just get the number as low as possible and hope for the best. But that does mean occasionally you have, an anchor with an agility of, say, 9 or 10. And you're like, well, that's pretty low. Doesn't always work out.
And for anyone new who is intrigued by this and wants to play, join our Discord. And if you have any questions like that, they will be answered. There are many knowledgeable people who are very free with their information, and it helped me a lot as I was starting, and continues to be a daily help. Lots of discussion, lots of things to keep learning. We'd love to have you join us.
But at this point, it is looking fairly straightforward for Imperial Dragon. Managing to bounce that nuke back, even.
You should make a list of the things that feel good when you play this game, and that is definitely one of them. I love seeing that. And let's see, because that Silk Web could have possibly nerfed this Big Bang, and it did not, unfortunately.
Still should be far enough in that I wouldn't be too concerned. Now I would be a little more concerned.
She's going to have some time with the black hole to kind of recover. She's got the Cure 3 coming in on the Rosa, and we'll see what she decides to do. Oh, reciprocal Cure 3s. Looks like right now Imperial Dragon's going perhaps for Reflect. I haven't been paying that close attention. Has she avoided doing direct damage lately?
She might have. But we have been seeing a virus coming out, so I don't think we're quite in the position that you would want to be. And yeah, that's a reset out of it, unfortunately.
Yep, down to just one character left with under 1,000 hit points. That gets dicey.
Yep, the way that Threemus is scripted, generally speaking, it's supposed to have quite a lot of HP, but 32-bit integers are a thing, and so there's a point in the fight where Threemus' health refills. And the trigger for causing that refill, 16-bit. The point is, if the trigger for actually refilling it is a direct hit, and so if all your damage is indirect, say reflected nukes or what have you, you never actually set that off, and you can get by with a much smaller number that you have to chip away at.
Yep, and because you're bouncing stuff, we've named that strategy the reflex strat. You're reflecting essentially magic, and you're hopefully reflecting either nukes or whites, the two big, most powerful spells. So you can do it with other ones, but those two will get you there the quickest. And as Huffpen just said, you get to skip a lot of the HP, and it makes for a quick fight. when you can get through it that way. You have to be able to keep your casters alive.
Yep. I mean, we would discuss the exact amounts and the things they have to look for, but that would be doing math, and we've already done math once here, so...
We could count damage.
I mean, we could. Starting off with that silk web. You accept the nuke because that's going to help you nerf that first big bang. And having it hit Tella is probably acceptable.
I would not mind that at all.
Nah. There goes that
there's
spoon. Yep.
Yeah. So that's
Nice.
a common thing to see with the reflex strats, because it gives you that easy 10k right off the top, and you're not too deep into the fight that it triggers the refill.
Solid hit off of that white spell as well.
Yeah, that was a big one, 9,400. Let's see what the nuke does, because we could be over 30k essentially at this point, or close to it. There's that feeling again.
Yeah, this round has gone so much smoother.
Sometimes it can come down to just who that first nuke hits, and how your party deals with it.
And definitely not a nerfed Big Bang there, but we might be far enough into the fight that it's not that scary anymore. You still want to put up those Cure 4s, though.
Yep, an Imperial Dragon noticed that the black hole went out. I think she might have considered casting that white, but the black hole removes the Star Veil, and I'm sure just about every runner has done it, where you cast that big powerful spell and it hits an unveiled character and that character goes down. But she's got a new one up on the Palom, up in the top slot. Let's see if she gets lucky again with the bounce.
I would say that's lucky.
Yeah, that would be my second preferred target.
And when your first preferred target is on the floor, we'll take second.
All right.
Oh, and there's the flash.
Good game, Imperial Dragon. And I believe we're joined now by Imperial Dragon after wrapping up her Z fight. GG, Imperial Dragon, welcome.
Thank you for the welcome. Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, we were able to see, but I wanted to hear like what was in your head as that first D machine grind, like how that felt.
I was just at that point. I got so flustered after I wiped trying to do that it just put me off, and then I stopped short on the dragons.
And that led to your decision to dive the moons in search of some of those boss fights, and then you had the one siren and searching for that extra XP.
Yeah, if I hadn't wiped the first time, I would have probably been okay, but that's one of those things that sometimes it happens.
Yeah, as we were saying, like it's a popular grind, but it's not without its dangers.
I honestly don't really use it very much, but the fact that I forgot that sirens were stealable, yeah. That's one of my biggest regrets of this race.
Yeah, that's understandable. So if that had occurred to you, that you would have gone that route and done eggs, perhaps.
Yeah, I would have done eggs, or I would have possibly once I had the darkness crystal, I would have considered doing the dragons up there. That would have been probably just as easy, but
Yeah, we were wondering, especially when we saw the Baron guards down in the Fey March, that if there were any hourglasses underground, and there weren't, and had to wait till we saw that moonshot for those. Those would have been useful.
yes, they would have been very useful. I will say, though, when I saw that it was a jet seed, my heart just sank. I have trouble with low-level strats, and I had a bad feeling once I saw that.
Yeah, that is a reasonable reaction. It puts a lot more difficult strats on the table. When you have the slower ones that force you to do a lot of checks, it forces you to get a lot of levels as well. So I don't blame you for the anxiety on that front.
Yeah, I think a lot of runners share that. We see those early objectives all doable, and you were essentially at go mode. What did we say? Were we in the 20-minute range?
Yeah, I think it was like 25 minutes or so. You hit go mode.
Yeah, our jaws were dropping as we watched how quickly those items came together. And I don't know if you had a chance to talk to Dathus in the spoiler chat, but he waited on that antline for quite a long time.
I saw him say that much. Yeah, I probably could have handled that one so much better, but I finished it, and I'm gonna call that good enough for this time. There's always next week.
Yeah, your early game was great. You just had that one unfortunate wipe to D machine, but you nailed all those early checks, and you got what you needed to get. So speaking of next week, at 1-1, you're in the position where you need a win to make it to that play-in race. And what are your thoughts moving forward?
Honestly, I didn't expect to even do this well, so I'm gonna do my best. But what happens, happens. Looking forward to playing my next match.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, that's all you can do. So we look forward to that and hope the next run goes that much better for you.
At any rate, thank you guys for restreaming, and thank you everybody for watching.
GG, thank you for letting us stream your match and providing us with entertainment here on a Friday night.
I hope you were entertained.
We definitely were. Thank you very much.
And we hope all of you watching were also entertained, and I hope you all come back for future races that we have. I believe we have one set for this channel tomorrow. Time would be 8 p.m. Eastern, if the information I have is right. But there's going to be plenty of races tomorrow as we wrap up this week of the Highway to the Threemus Zone across the Free Enterprise channel, RPG Limit Break, and here.
Yep, this round's coming to an end, but we have plenty of Free Enterprise coming up, and I think we're about to toss it to someone playing the table flags, which are the flag set for the second half of the tournament. So if you've never seen those, I think we're going to send it over to Dia, who's an amazing racer, and I've learned so much from watching her races and her practices and her streams. So I think you'll enjoy that.
Yep. So until next time, thank you again, Leggy Starscream and Gundam Pilot Spaz, taking care of things behind the scenes. Michael Korgs, thank you for joining me in the booth. And we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you, and good night.
Cool.